Okay, we're interrupting your regularly scheduled browsing for a special report. We are going live right to the front lines of the internet to break down one of the most common yet surprisingly complex moments we all experience, the loading screen. We're going to treat this like the high-stakes digital event it actually is.
So our story kicks off the second you click a link. You're expecting to get where you're going instantly, right? But nope. Instead, an alert flashes and everything just grinds to a halt. We're tracking this developing situation as it unfolds right from the beginning.
All right, so this is where our report really begins, with this unrequested, sudden interruption. You've clicked something, but instead of the website you wanted, you're just met with a hard stop. This is the very first signal from the field that, a pretty complicated process is getting underway.
And here it is, the alert itself. 3 simple words. Just a moment. But don't let that fool you. This isn't a polite suggestion. It's a command. It signals a complete stop to your progress, a demand for your time, and with absolutely no explanation given. All other activity just ceases.
But then, and this happens fast, just as quickly as it all began, there's a breakthrough. We've got confirmation coming in from the field of a pretty significant development in the standoff. The first security checks, they're already done.
And here is that confirmation. This is the first piece of good news we've gotten during this whole event. What it means is that a really critical security checkpoint has officially been cleared. Your connection, your browser, basically you've passed the first test.
And this number just confirms how complete that check was. 100%. It's a definitive all clear from headquarters. You've been fully vetted, you've been authenticated, and you are clear to proceed to the next stage. Or at least, that's what it looks like.
So let's move on to the next phase, because this is where that initial success, that quick victory, gives way to a much more tense and uncertain standoff. Believe it or not, the easy part is over. Now the real negotiation is about to begin.
Now, a new player enters the game, the destination server. In this case, it's OpenAI.com. This server is the gatekeeper. It holds the content you want, and it has its own completely different set of security rules. You are now stuck right in the middle of a digital negotiation between your browser and the place you're trying to get to.
And this, right here, brings us to the crucial question. The duration of this wait? It's a total unknown. All control has been taken away from you, the user. At this point, you're just a spectator to this high-speed conversation that's happening in a language you can't even hear.
Now, let's look at the intel from the timeline here. Initial contact happens in just 100 milliseconds. The verification packet gets sent at 300, and the whole server handshake thing begins at 800 milliseconds. It all happens in less than a second. And yet, when you're the one on standby, just staring at the screen, these tiny moments can feel like an absolute eternity.
Finally, after that tense silence, communication is back on. But, and this is a big but, it's not an all-clear signal. The server breaks its silence, but it does so with a very specific set of conditions that have to be met before you're granted access.
So, the server's first condition has to do with something called JavaScript. The easiest way to think of this is like the engine that makes a modern website actually work. It handles everything from animations to filling out forms. The server is demanding that this engine be turned on, both to make sure the site functions correctly and so it can run its own security checks.
The second condition involves cookies. Now, these are basically the website's memory. They're just little data files that help it recognize you. By enabling them, you're allowing the server to verify that it's still you and to maintain a secure connection. It's the server's way of saying, hey, I need to be able to remember who you are to let you in.
So the path forward isn't an automatic pass at all. It's a 2-step demand for compliance. You absolutely must have JavaScript and cookies enabled. The server has laid out its terms, and now the ball is back in your browser's court to prove it meets the criteria.
So what are the key takeaways from this whole digital standoff? Well, our analysis shows that every single click you make is actually a really complex negotiation. Your access is just one part of this constant dance between what your browser can do and what the server demands for security. That brief pause you experience? It's not a glitch. It's a fundamental and honestly a necessary part of how the modern web is built. And all of this leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world that's built for instant gratification, this forced pause is a really powerful reminder of all the hidden systems that define our digital lives. It's a brief, but, a pretty fascinating glimpse into who is really in control. For this special report, that's all the time we have. We now return you to your regularly scheduled feed.